Have you ever wondered what it's like to live like Deadpool? No? Just me? Well, today is the day we all find out what it's like to live like Deadpool. From diet to his training, I am diving right in. All starting with cardio.
He didn't say what kind of cardio I had to do. Now, this video is based on two people, the wannabe Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds' body double, me. Now, Deadpool is clearly an interesting character because he does have some mutant powers, but we can also look to Ryan Reynolds, who trained to become like Deadpool, who realistically, to me, is the ultimate Deadpool, for the inspiration for this video. And I was able to scour the internet for as much information as I could find on Deadpool. Primarily things I could find in comic books, but I did find some amazing information on how Ryan Reynolds trained to become Deadpool. Chill out, bro. Gee, oh my God. Ryan Reynolds trained with someone named Don Saladino, and I found his Deadpool program that I'm going to be utilizing all day today. Not only the training like Deadpool, but also the nutrition like Deadpool, with one exception, and that is the cheat meal, which is a chimichanga for dinner. So I'm going to be basing a lot of these calories and meals based on the Dan Saladino plan, with the exception of that dinner. So while he's finishing up, I'm gonna go make breakfast.
Now, as I mentioned earlier, all of the food I'm going to be making today is based on Don Saladino's training and nutrition guide from when he trained Ryan Reynolds to be Deadpool. In my case, I have some really cool cooking cards that I'm going to be using to pull some recipes from that are based on that nutrition guide. The first recipe is a really great corn relish or corn slaw. This is really simple to put together and you can make a ton of it at one time. You are going to need quite a few nice fresh ears of corn that we're going to grill on the stovetop. Yes, you can grill corn on the stovetop. It's not as nice as a real grill, but it'll work in a pinch. Just be careful. The next thing you'll need is one red onion, nicely chopped up. You want this to be really nice and small, almost the size of the corn. This is a bit smaller than a small dice, but just try to make your best effort here. Make sure you do check on that corn because it is going to start to char very quickly. Once you flipped your corn, come back to your onion and place this into a large bowl. You're going to put everything you make into the same bowl. Next is one whole bunch of cleaned and washed cilantro, and make sure that you check on that corn one more time. Place all that chopped cilantro into that bowl right on top of the red onion. Go back to your corn, give it a nice turn, then come back to your cutting board and get some jalapeno ready. I like to remove the seeds out of my jalapeno just because I don't want any of that pith in there. And then mince this up as nice as you can. Just get it really nice and small, and then go back and check on the corn.
Ow! Oh, I've been shot.
While I'm being shot at making this corn, I'm gonna check on Paul and see how he's doing.
Take this time before we start speeding things up.
Yep, he's right where I left him. Now, this doesn't look too intense right now, but on average, I do burn around 400 to 500 calories per boxing session, which lasts about an hour. While Paul's getting his boxing on, we're gonna go back downstairs and finish this corn slaw. Now, the corn does take around 10 to 15 minutes to get nice and charred, and you're gonna have to pull off some of them earlier than others, so just pay attention to it. The next bit is one bunch of green onions or some scallions, whatever you really have lying around. You wanna slice these nice and thin, throw those into your bowl, and then get 2 cloves of garlic. Chop up the garlic just so it's nice and small. Again, you're trying to keep everything pretty tiny so you can put it onto a spoon when you serve it or eat it. Next is one whole lemon. We're gonna juice this directly on top of everything we have already cut. Double check your recipe to make sure you didn't miss anything. Realize you missed some rice vinegar that we do have to pour in. This is around 1/4 cup of rice vinegar, as well as 1 teaspoon of cumin, a nice hefty pinch of salt, and some black pepper to season it. Now, here's a really good trick for cutting grilled corn. Put a clean towel down onto your cutting board or your sheet tray to protect your knife, and then start cutting the corn to remove it from the cob. Once you've cut all the corn, place it directly into your bowl, and this salad is ready to mix together. This is where we're going to incorporate all the spices, all the seasonings, and everything else to make sure that the corn is fully coated. Give this a taste and then re-season it if needed. Mine needed a little more salt and a little more vinegar, as well as 1 more lemon. The reason for that is because I actually added in extra corn to this recipe instead of keeping it true to the card. This is just because the corn was on sale and I wanted to make more of this. Give it another taste and make sure it is seasoned really well. At this point, Paul, you're not really tasting it, you're just eating it. Throw this into the fridge to cool down, and let's check on Paul one more time before we finish making breakfast.
Right leg forward, grounded into the snow. We've got 3 strikes into a slip.
I'm down here working my butt off to make this amazing breakfast that's nutritionally sound, and he's up there just having the time of his life dancing. Okay. Since this is breakfast tacos, I'm going to be using some eggs, primarily around 1 cup of egg whites and 2 whole eggs whisked together. You can also use chicken, beef, really whatever you want for this recipe, but I want to use eggs because it's breakfast. I'm using a very large saute pan that I'm greasing up with just a little bit of pan spray, and then scrambling these eggs lightly. Unfortunately, my nonstick pan is not really nonstick anymore, but it works out. Season this with salt and black pepper, and your scrambled eggs are done. Next, we have to heat up some corn tortillas, and make sure you don't burn all of them, but if you burn one, it's going to be fine. Just turn it around and no one will have to no, especially the idiot upstairs who's still playing boxing. After you've warmed up all the tacos, throw down some of the eggs on each one, trying to make it as even as possible, but this is a lot of eggs. It's actually around 50 grams of protein total. Garnish it with a ton of that fresh corn slaw we just made, making sure it is overly filled so it's very difficult to eat. Then take a little bit of sour cream and squeeze some lime into it to get a nice lime citrus sour cream. Garnish it right on top and your breakfast tacos are done. Paul, breakfast is ready. Get down here, please.
Yeah. I'm coming. I hear breakfast is ready. Okay, hold on. So demanding. Makes me breakfast and then yells.
You know, sometimes I want to slap him.
And these are Deadpool's breakfast tacos. Now, what's interesting is that in the diet program that Ryan Reynolds had done, he did have a bunch of lean proteins, some really light carbohydrates, and a ton of veggies. And in this case, the carbs are coming from the tortillas, which are 4 tortillas or 50 grams of carbs, which isn't very much. And then maybe another 15 or 20, maybe from the corn slaw. And then almost 40 something grams of protein from the egg. So this is a pretty big breakfast. And I think it's going to fuel his workout that happens right after this. So he's gonna come downstairs from doing his fake boxing thing, and he's gonna have to eat tacos, I guess. As promised, I finished cardio, and as promised, Chef made me these amazing looking tacos, to be honest. I can't wait to dive into these, and it sucks for him that he can't have any. One thing Chef didn't leave out is some hot sauce, because I think these are gonna need them. So I'm gonna try them without the hot sauce first. These are freaking loaded though. Look at how full that taco is. Oh God, as it gets juices everywhere. This looks so freaking good right now. Cheers. Oh. It's so good. It's so good. I think the secret to egg whites is actually including a few whole eggs in there. Gives it a nice creaminess to it. The sour cream does really help with that for the texture, but then the corn itself gives everything like this nice crunch. It gives it a bit of citrus from all of the vinegar and the lemon juice. There's a lot of flavors happening, but it does need some of this hot sauce. Oh. Oh yeah, that's the ticket. What do I have to do after this? A full-on Ryan Reynolds Deadpool style gym session after eating 4 massive tacos. You know how comfortable that's gonna be at the gym? Not very comfortable, but while I'm there, Chef is gonna be making me my next meal.
Ryan Reynolds has a couple of things going for him. He's either a mutant or a genetic freak, which makes him a mutant, or he just really cares about his health and wellness. So I guess that's 3 things. He looked like this in Van Wilder, like this in Blade Trinity, and like this in Deadpool. And no, I'm not stalking him most of the time. But after finding Ryan's official training from Don Saladino for becoming Deadpool, I can see why he's maintained his physique for so long. Now, to achieve the Ryan Reynolds Deadpool look, we do have to look at a few things. The biggest thing is that we don't actually go to failure on every single set. In Don's program, he actually has Ryan going to upwards of 15 repetitions per set. Normally, if you're doing that many reps for a single set, you're not going to be doing very heavy weights. But regardless, there's always one thing you want to try to achieve:
maximum effort.
With single leg lunges done, we're gonna check back in the kitchen. In the nutrition guide, Don has something for roasted vegetables for part of the meal plan. So in this case, I'm going to be using a roasted vegetable and farro card that I have. This is a super simple recipe that just needs a little bit of time. And realistically, you can use almost any roasted vegetable you want, but I'm using 3 zucchinis and 2 yellow squash here. I dice them up to 1/2-inch cubes and place them into a nice bowl, so this way I can toss them all with a bit of olive oil, salt, and black pepper. Don does say he uses a good amount of olive oil for the diet, so we're mostly using olive oil today. After you get all the vegetables nice and diced, try a couple pieces of them just to make sure they have enough salt, and if they are seasoned correctly, place this onto a sheet tray with some aluminum foil, so this way we can roast it in the oven. Now, my friend Alfred did mention he loves purple cauliflower and used it for the Batman video that you should totally get subscribed to the channel for to watch later. To make the purple cauliflower, we're just going to remove the stem and then dice these into bite-sized pieces. You don't want the cauliflower to be too small, otherwise it can over roast and then it's just going to be weird once it comes out of the oven. Same thing, place this into the bowl, olive oil, salt, pepper, place this onto a sheet tray after you've tossed it all together, and this is also going to be roasted at 425 for about 20 to 25 minutes or until it's nice and charred. The last 2 vegetables are some asparagus and some portobello mushrooms. I am removing the black part of the portobello out, but feel free to leave it in if you want a more earthy flavor. Do the same thing here, dice up the portobello into 1/2-inch cubes, place this into your bowl seasoned with salt, pepper, and some olive oil, and place this onto a sheet tray. The asparagus is super simple. Cut these into 1-inch long pieces, olive oil, salt, and pepper, and place this onto the same sheet tray as the mushrooms and roast this as well.
The oven's full, so I kind of have to rotate those.
While all of those vegetables are roasting, we're going to check back in Paul and see how that workout is going. For this most unflattering shot, I'm focusing on the upper body, and in this case, I'm doing some chest presses. The first exercise was lower body, then we're going to upper body. We're going to do this alternating style for the entire workout. I'm aiming for 3 sets of 12 one more time.
So on that last set, I had to drop the weight to about 60 so I could hit 10 reps because I am still sore from previous workouts, but We'll get through this.
The next set that I'm going to be doing are some bent over rows. The primary muscle that this is targeting is your entire back. The bent over row is one of my favorite exercises, and I like doing these for reps because you can really feel the burn on each one.
I only got to 9 on that one, so I need to take my own advice and lighten it up so I can get to 12 to 15 for what Ryan would probably do. Lessons learned, you know.
I'm just glad I don't have to worry about making food after this.
Paul, I hope you're enjoying your workout because lunch is going to be delicious.
The next part of this lunch is actually the farro. Farro is a nice grain that's similar to brown rice, but it's kind of different and really meaty and really nice. All you really need to do is take 1 cup of dried farro, make sure it's nice and rinsed, place this into a pot along with 3 cups of chicken stock or water, season it with some salt and some black pepper, bring this over to the stove to a nice boil, and then reduce it to a simmer for about 30 minutes. After the 30 minutes, the farro should be nice and tender, and we're just gonna drain all of the liquid out of it, place this onto a plate to cool down, and I can cool down this alongside all of the vegetables that I've already roasted. Now it's time to work on our protein, which is a nice blackened chicken. What's really great about this veggie bowl is that you can put any protein on top of this that you want. Try it with some seared steak, some roasted, fried, or grilled fish, or even just throw a tablespoon of hummus on it. For the blackening spice, you need a half teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of dried thyme, along with around 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of black pepper. This should be enough for 2 chicken breasts, so make sure you coat each side of the chicken breast before we sear it into a large saute pan with a little bit of olive oil. Once the chicken breasts are seared on both sides, I'm gonna move this over to the other stove where there's a vent so I don't smoke out the house. Now, because I did make a lot of vegetables, I'm gonna put these into separate containers and get ready to plate this up and check it back in on Paul to make sure he's done with his workout. And hear me out, we cannot do a Deadpool workout without working on the booty because Microsoft just announced this amazing looking controller for the Xbox and I absolutely need it. Please, if you can find this, send it to me. I did this for 3 sets of 12 at 225 pounds.
Apparently, I don't know how to not go to failure. Probably a bad trait.
Now there's only 2 more exercises I need to do before I am done with this workout. One of them being a close grip lateral pull down, and of course you have to do some curls at the end of the day because the curls are for the Deadpool. Or for Logan, maybe Logan.
I mean, the workout was good. I didn't hit everything that I wanted to hit. I'm gonna put my full workout right here on the screen so you can see what I missed and what I didn't miss. But it's okay, because I'm a few years older than Ryan, and I feel like I still have a lot to give, right? How old is Ryan is 10 years older than me.
You know, he might have 10 years on me and look amazing, but at least I have my own personal chef. To plate up lunch, I'm taking equal portions of all of my vegetables and just placing it into a nice large bowl, along with around a half a cup of the farro. All of my vegetables are still around room temperature and not necessarily warm, and I actually really like this as a cold salad. Top this off with some fresh lemon juice to give it a nice pop and a nice citrus flavor. Give this a toss to make sure that lemon juice is incorporated with all the vegetables and the farro. Place this onto another plate if you really want to be fancy, or just eat it out of the bowl that you just tossed everything in. Slice up one of your blackened chicken breasts, place it right on top, and optionally hit it with some sour cream right at the end.
This is the blackened chicken with the farro and the vegetables. This is from 2 of the card recipes that I had, but this is a substantial amount of food. It's high in protein, high in fiber, it has all of your veggies that you need, and it's pretty close to what Ryan Reynolds had during his Deadpool training, so this fits pretty well. But this isn't for me. This is for the wannabe Deadpool who's on his way here from the gym, so I hope you like this. I really do. You know what? It's amazing having your own personal chef, isn't it? Imagine if that were actually a thing. After that gym session, this looks freaking amazing. Granted, it's kind of a lot of food for after a gym, so maybe I should have a protein shake, but I'm gonna dig in because my mouth is watering. Cheers. Oh my God. You taste each and every vegetable. It has this really nice texture. All the vegetables are not overcooked, which is really nice. Still has texture to it. They kind of complement each other really well. You get some of the meatiness from the mushrooms, get a little bit of the creaminess from the sour cream, but just like spit everywhere. This is so good. I'm gonna try a piece with the blackened chicken. My favorite part about doing the anime and now the superhero diets is that I can explore and have healthier options because I love a lot of things that aren't great for me, but I also love this. So I'm gonna take this down and have a very special training. I still have one very special Ryan Reynolds style training for the evening, followed by an insane recipe that I came up with my friend Josh Strife Hayes. I don't know how Paul's gonna make that one. I really don't. That's a problem for the other Paul, not me. I don't have to do it.
Now let me talk to you guys about Deadpool's weapon training. Whoa, oh no. Oh, I almost got hit by the sprinklers. Look at Oh, that was so close. Okay, hold on. We're gonna set up over here. Oh, that would have been so good in this not waterproof camera. Oh, my stuff.
Let's try this again. So yes, Deadpool's weapon training is fascinating because he uses dual katanas because he thinks they're cool. Yes, in some of the comic books, it says he does have special training with, I think the sprinklers are gonna hit me, with the katana. But instead, what we primarily know is that Deadpool just likes to use katanas because they're cool. Now, what's really, really interesting about Deadpool's katanas is that they're named Bay and Arthur. And now this wasn't canon until Ryan Reynolds mentioned the name. He had named the katanas Bay and Arthur during the first filming of Deadpool. And because Ryan Reynolds is basically Deadpool, the authors of Deadpool 616 put it into canon that his katanas are Bay and Arthur. Oh God, I just got so wet. I am not safe here. We gotta reset. I've relocated to the middle of a baseball diamond that looks like it hasn't been watered in 700 years, so hopefully the sprinklers don't turn on right now. Now, because Deadpool gets to use a weapon that he thinks is the coolest, I'm gonna be training with what I think is the coolest weapon, the trisectional staff that I learned when I was becoming Toji for 7 days. Hopefully the sprinklers don't turn on again.
For those of you who are new to the channel, I love training with this weapon, and the first time I had used it is for a Jujutsu Kaisen video when I trained to become Toji for 7 days. While I get my warm-up in, other me has to start making this insane chimichanga.
Now, while I'm over at weapon training, I actually have to start making dinner because it does take a little bit of time, and this dinner is not in that nutrition guide. Instead, this dinner is based on Deadpool's favorite word, chimichanga.
Now, canonically, Deadpool doesn't even like chimichangas. He actually really likes enchiladas, but he likes saying the word chimichangas. So I will be making the ultimate chimichanga, starting off with a really nice fresh guacamole. I'm taking 3 avocados, cutting them in half, adding in 2 of the avocados whole into the bowl, mashing that till it's pretty creamy, and then throwing in the other avocado halves and mashing that till it's a little chunky. To this, I'm adding 1 whole bunch of chopped cilantro, which I totally should have done earlier because I was chopping cilantro earlier, and a half an onion that I'm mincing up as well, which I also should have cut earlier when I was using that, you know what I mean? And this jalapeno, I did jalapenos earlier too. See, if I were a smart person, I would have cut up all of this stuff at one time, but because I'm not smart, I'm cutting it all up again. The one thing I didn't cut up earlier was 1 whole tomato. I do like to put tomato into my guacamole, and this is kind of optional, but I do feel like it gives it a nice flavor. I remove the seeds from the inside of the tomato so this way it doesn't get too watery, chop this up into small tiny pieces, and then add that to the guac. This also gets 2 whole of the juiciest limes on the planet. Look at how much juice is coming out of these limes. It's more juice than comes out of Deadpool's body. To this, I'm adding in 1 chopped clove of garlic, salt, and black pepper, just a touch of cumin, and then giving this a nice stir, trying not to really mince up or mash up that avocado too much. You want it to be nice and chunky.
This took about 10 minutes. You can make a ton of guac in 10 minutes.
And now we just give it 1 final taste test to make sure it's seasoned properly. And I said 1 final taste test. That's 2 taste tests. You don't need any, that's you're just eating the guac. I hope it was good. You're just eating this by the spoonful.
I'm gonna clean up and we're gonna check on Paul and see how weapon training is going.
Now, I do like to start off all of my weapon training by using this particular trisectional staff because it does have a foam cushion around it for when I hit myself. This is really important for me to warm up like this, so this way I get a feel for what I'm gonna be doing, but I do try to get a little aggressive with a lot of my movements and really exaggerate them. I'm trying to get better and better at moving around with my 3-sectional staff, which is something that I've not been very good at. And what's great is that after talking to Sifu Peter, who taught me how to use a 3-sectional staff, is that he had said just have some fun with it and start creating your own combos, and that's what I'm trying to do. But now with this first part of the warm-up ready to go, I have to start warming up something else in the kitchen. That sounded really dirty. One of the things that's going inside of the burrito, which will be inside of a taquito, is going to be some black beans. Since I don't have any lard, I'm actually going to be cooking the black beans with some whole butter and a little bit of canola oil. This is also being seasoned with just a bit of salt, and then I'm stirring these black beans together until that butter fully melts into the beans. This does take around 3 to 5 minutes just until everything is nice and incorporated, but you can see how really nice and creamy these black beans get. They're not exactly refried beans, but they're gonna be really nice. After that, I need to take some queso Oaxaca, which is an amazing cheese that is very similar to mozzarella. I say similar to mozzarella, but mostly because it's stringy, salty, and cheesy, and delicious in every single way, but it's Mexican, and it's amazing. This is also going to go inside of a taquito, inside of the burrito.
Seriously? Make mozzarella sticks out of this? It has so much flavor. Paul, I'm gonna start cooking the carne asada, so I hope you're close to being done.
Close to being done, dude. I just started. Now I actually have to start working with the bamboo version of the tri-sectional staff. Remember earlier when I mentioned I like to warm up with the foam covered version because I hit myself a lot? Yeah, that's because I always work up to the solid bamboo version. I'm still doing a few warm-ups, but I'm getting really aggressive with it really quickly and making sure I go into the same movements I just practiced. Typically, Ryan would practice hours a day with his weapon of choice, the katanas, to become Deadpool. Do this for a few hours and I promise you will be exhausted.
You may be wondering, why on earth are you wearing a sweater? It's because the sun is literally directly over me, and I feel like I would turn into a little burnt crisp, similar to our friend Wade. All I'm thinking about right now is whatever Chef has cooking in the kitchen. Chef, I hope you're hooking it up, dude.
Don't worry, man. I got you on this one. It's gonna be awesome.
Obviously, you can tell that I've been making all of my own meals today and doing all the training, and I am exhausted. So I stopped by my local carniceria, which is a Mexican meat market, and picked up marinated carne asada. This is flank steak. It's delicious. No, I did not marinate it.
Look, I'm just being real with you guys. Sometimes at the end of the day, after 3 different training sessions, all you want to do is have a burrito. I'm very lucky that this place exists near me, and I very much like their product. The only thing they don't put in their marinade is any salt, because you don't want to really salt steak too far ahead of time, otherwise it can get a little weird. So I'm seasoning the steak on both sides and then heating a cast iron to a nice high heat. You can also do this on the grill if you have a nice grill at home, but I don't really have a grill at home, so I'm just using a cast iron pan at a ripping hot heat and cooking this for just a couple of minutes on each side over on the stove, because, you know, the whole smoke detector thing. After a few minutes, I've cooked off all of my carne asada. This stuff is ready to go, and it is so tender and so delicious.
Now hear me out. Josh had said we need to put 6 burritos into 1 burrito, so when I cut it open, it represents a revolver.
Now, I couldn't really fit 6 burritos inside of 1 burrito, but I can try to fit 6 taquitos inside of 1 burrito. For those of you who don't know what a taquito is, it is a deep fried corn tortilla that has been stuffed with different fillings. In this case, I'm doing 1 taquito with cheese, and then we're doing 2 taquitos with black beans, which leaves 4 taquitos to have the carne asada on the inside. This will give me 6 taquitos that will then be deep fried and shoved into 1 giant flour tortilla. Do you like how Gandalf came out as soon as I took out the meat? The carne asada has to be sliced super thin, so this way it can fit into those smaller corn tortillas. Now, I did slightly heat up my corn tortillas ahead of time, and I said slightly because this is going to be a big problem moving forward. I stuffed 4 of my corn tortillas with my carne asada and then brought over a ton of oil that I had heating up in my wok. I was already having the corn tortillas break on me as I was stuffing them, and you could see them start to open up as I start to deep fry them.
It might work, but it's also, cheese has exploded on me before, so I'm gonna let that do its thing.
Now, I did try heating up the corn tortillas in a little bit of oil to make them more pliable and then rolling the meat in that to hope that it stays together, but we were slightly successful. While Chef Paul figures this out, I'm gonna check back in on the other Paul to see how training is going, and it looks like he has started on his final set. This is the set that I had learned when I was trying to become Toji from my Jujutsu Kaisen video. The only difference that I did here is I got a little bit more free-flowing with it and tried to be very fast on my feet versus the very static movements that I did when I first did this test. It's been almost 7 months since that test, and I feel like I've gotten so much better at all of these movements, and it's really cool to see this come to life. Who knows, maybe by the end of the year, I will actually be able to become Deadpool and Toji and all of the Hashira and maybe even Ichigo from Bleach. Who knows?
I've been doing these character routine diet things for over 2 years now, and I still have so much fun doing this. And if you want to see more of these over and over and over again, and a lot of other videos in the future, consider supporting me over on Patreon or buying my books at CHEFPK.com. I'm gonna go eat now. Chef, you ready? Yeah? Okay, I'm coming.
No, it's opening. No, stop it.
At this point, I had lost 3 different taquitos and I had tried re-rolling them multiple times. Each different filling kind of acted differently and I had to try to get used to how to deep fry each individual one. Luckily, the black beans worked okay, but then I had to re-chop some of my carne asada to make it smaller, so this way it would fit more tightly in that corn tortilla. After rolling these up, I tried placing them back into the deep fryer and I had to hold it together with my tongs so this way it wouldn't open in the fryer.
The biggest problem was that I wasn't actually keeping my tortillas warm enough when I was rolling them. So I had to work very, very quickly to get the rest of these done, but now I can safely say that these will not fit in my tortilla.
I have stuffed many a burrito in my life, and I can already tell that these won't fit in here. But to give it its best shot, I'm also shredding up a bunch of Oaxaca cheese on top of the tortilla, so this way it acts as a barrier. I melted this down on the stove just a little bit and then started placing my taquitos on top of that melted cheese. I tried piling these up in various ways, and then I remembered I needed to put guacamole in the middle of this, and the reason it's in the middle is so this way the guacamole doesn't really heat up when it goes to deep fry. And rolling this thing, realistically, is a test of futility, my friends.
Okay, hold on.
I thought this would be a good idea, you know, cut some of the ends off to make it shorter, but the problem was it couldn't roll the tortilla over the top. So making it shorter really did nothing.
Bro, they can't do this. How do you even get all of this in there? Maybe 5. We're gonna go with 5. You know, like Russian roulette. One of them is not gonna be good for you. Oh my God, even 5 won't close.
I gave it my best. I rolled this thing to my best burrito rolling capabilities, and somehow I got it to stick.
Oh my God, is 5 going to close? Yes! It closed. But now I have to deep fry this.
A couple of toothpicks to hold this together, and I am taking every precaution.
Well, here we go.
This is the moment of truth, ladies and gentlemen. Will this burrito hold up?
That is like 3 hours of work in there.
We don't want excuses, we want results.
Hold on. It's kind of working. Oh my God. Is this gonna actually work? Okay, it is open a little bit, but this is, hold on, this is exciting. This is exciting. Oh, baby, it's working. Oh my God, we almost spilled oil everywhere and I would have died. Look it worked. Somehow there's 5 taquitos in this stupid thing. Oh, okay, hold on. Oil, please, you need to go over here. Oh my God, there's so much to clean. If this is what Deadpool wants, this is what Deadpool gets.
Now there's only one thing left to do. The cross-section cut.
Hold together, please. Hold. Hold. Yes. 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 That's so stupid. Why would anybody want this? Dear Lord. It's so dumb, but it looks so cool. Why? There's so much grease. Oh God, oh man. I don't think I will ever make this again unless Ryan Reynolds himself requests this from me. This is how much I hated making this. I know how to do it now, but I hated making this. And you know what? The other Paul that's out in the grass working out right now, screw you, buddy. I'm having a bite of this. Cheers. Oh, it's even hard to eat, but it's really good, you know? At this point, you just have to embrace the chaos, you know? There's so much happening in this. And surprisingly, beyond all that grease that I can feel all over my beard, I can still taste the distinct flavors. But I didn't make this for me. I made this for other Paul, because you know what? I'm a good house husband chef. You know what? He is a good house husband chef. Look at him making me food all day after I've done all of my workouts. Man, how do people do it? Click right over here if you want to watch me try all of the Demon Slayer Hashira trainings in a single day along with their diets, or click the link down below to pick up both of my brand new cookbooks. My name is Chef PK, and remember, keep playing with your food. You know, now I gotta clean up all this, or he has to clean up all of this.